Through the Mayhem, the Silently podcast series, bringing marketing industry leaders together to discuss the ever-shifting media landscape. Learn about the ins and outs of real-time marketing, influencers, data privacy, technology, and so much more. All from industry experts with real experience, giving you the real answers. Now, let's break through the mayhem.
Welcome back to Breaking Through the Mayhem, live from Ad Week. Who do we have here with us?
Ad Week. You've got Jacob Davis here. I'm our global head of media over at Crossmedia.
I love that. I love your suit.
Thank you so much.
You look perfect.
I tried to match the wall.
Oh, man. This is going to be fun.
Let's do it. Have a great time. Let's do it.
So what are you excited about most this year at Ad Week?
I mean, I think watching the different permutations of the ways that people are thinking about whether it's AI, whether it's machine learning, whether it's deep research, the components that you're seeing about how creative people are being with the utilization. It's not enough to just think about how the platforms are doing things and some of the different ways that they're carrying forward. But what I start to think about a ton is from an agency perspective, from a partner perspective, what are we asking of those people that we want to work with most? And how are they returning it? And the sheer creativity is unbelievable. So when I think about getting all of those people in the same rooms and being able to bump into those people and starting to make introductions between those groups, all of a sudden you start to see some really interesting magical moments.
I love that. And do you find that, size of agency, being independent makes it a lot easier for you guys with how fast things are moving today?
I think for us, there is certainly an advantage to thinking outside the box and not being beholden to any one partner or having to represent the interests of outside investment and things like that. Being fiercely independent, in my opinion, there's never been a better time. And it's one of the reasons that I moved from a holding company environment to one of independence. We can make the best decisions, we can make the best partnerships, and it's all being done in service of our clients. What is the best thing that we can do that moves beyond media KPIs and into business outcomes that clients actually care about?
I love that. I mean, as you kind of see that evolving, how do you see the landscape playing out with like service versus tech and kind of agencies staying agencies?
Yeah.
It's one of the questions I've been thinking about a lot.
It's a great question. And I think it's really important to anyone who is providing a service to a brand, to a client, to a partner. You've got to be very realistic about the value that you're creating. I think we're slowly watching the erosion of value being tied to time. And value really needs to be tied to outcomes. So when we think about something like, will AI take the place of numerous people? I don't think so. I think we're going to see a lot of those monotonous, very repetitive tasks start to be automated in better ways. It should free up, though, strategic insight. It should free up the availability of smart people to do smart things. We will always be more creative than a computer. We will always be more creative than an AI piece of technology. It's really the value and the thoughtfulness that you're putting into it. It should be, riding along in your sidecar. But if you think that all of a sudden, since you entered a couple of buttons and ChatGPT produced something magic, that's your marketing plan, you should absolutely expect to be eaten alive. And you deserve it.
I completely agree. I mean, you saw yesterday there was a report that came out that wasn't fun for the consultancy world of that. I mean, you got to have the human element, still obviously deeply care about your work.
Yep.
How are you helping the rest of your team improve, though, today with all the tools that are out there? Do you teach them what to use? You let them just be creative? Kind of where do you play into it?
Yeah. I think what we try to do is make sure that people have access to anything that they could potentially want. There is no mandate to specifically use something. So what we try to outline for our teams and what we try to do is strike relationships with different partners that we think can be interesting and that can move us beyond simply what's available in a platform. So whether that be custom tailored audiences, interesting algorithmic, move forwards, areas of interest within creative. The end goal is never that someone is mandatory to use a specific piece of technology or another, but instead one that says you need to have a mastery of how this tool works. Because if you don't, you're going to be left in these situations where you're going to look and say, that wrench could hammer in that nail, but isn't a hammer better? So it's really being thoughtful about what the tools are supposed to do on your behalf and how you use them, instead of being hyper focused on something that could be quick, but not necessarily right.
Yeah. And I was also, taking it back to the question, I was also thinking about how are you helping your team become users of these AI stacks today? Like, are you pushing that on your team to learn? Kind of, are you giving them a space to do that? Where do you play there?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. In how to think about it, our teams, what we've started with is a foundational, what's taking too long? If we think 20 years ago when we were all kind of coming into the business and we started.
It's a great way to think about it.
Yeah, when we started to
just sit down, what's taking too long?
Could I do this faster in Excel? Because, we were all in Excel at the very beginning. And all of a sudden you learned about concatenation, VLOOKUPs, things of that nature. And it felt like you were an octopus with 8 arms, right? It became incredibly important that as you started to utilize those various formulas, all of a sudden things were faster. I think we are looking at it in a very similar way, which really just starts to say, what are those tasks that seem to take too long? What are those things that seem to be a little bit too complicated and that we could, work through a little bit faster? So at Crossmedia, we've built tools like one of them is called Crossmedia Gardener. And what it does is it has an API connection into our programmatic DSPs, and we have it automate and pull log files. These are normally multi-gig files that have numerous rows. Our XM Gardener tool will go through, do the pull for us. We'll put recommendations out, generate an output that a team manually goes in and reviews, and then we can send it back to a DSP, and we've automated the log file process. Automatic cleanliness, awesome. It's super easy, it's super interesting. So instead of us sitting there, going up and down, yo-yoing around with some of these tools and not being able to figure out what we're doing, we can be really clear about what need is it serving, and is it something that already exists in the marketplace?
Very interesting. I mean, as you guys are seeing growth, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you strategically, globally, and kind of put yourself into that mindset? Like, where are you pitching most now today? There's so much pitching going on.
There's so much pitching going on. As an independent, there's never been a better time. People are frustrated with some of the scenarios that they're finding themselves in. They used to be one of the largest clients at various agencies. Now they feel like the forgotten stepchild. It's a perfect opportunity for independents like Crossmedia to come in and really bring it back to what it's all about, which is 3 very basic things. Trust. Everything that you're doing has to be based in data that logically makes sense. Reason, if you can't explain it, you shouldn't be doing it. And the pursuit of happiness. Shouldn't we be out there having some fun? Like,
the pursuit of
that's
happiness.
What this is supposed to be all about.
And figuring out how to get octopus in this interview, right?
Ups, downs, left and right.
I love that.
We've got to do it.
The pursuit of happiness. The new way to win in media is going to be just get in a room. What are we doing that's taking too fast and too slow? And then the pursuit of happiness.
Start making decisions that make people happier. You want to know what makes people happier? Not doing monotonous work. Not doing stuff that they easily believe could be done by someone else or something else. So let's get that type of work out, and let's let people be creative around the solutions that we should be deploying on behalf of the clients we serve.
I love that. What about you? Do people not know outside of work that you want people to know that makes you?
What do people not know? Well, You recently learned I have 3 children, so I'm an unbelievably proud husband, proud parent.
How old are the kids?
I've got a 10-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Wow. Do they get along?
Depends on the day. Normally 2 of the 3 gang up on the 3rd. And it changes like a triangle, each and every day, which is a wonderful thing. You had no idea, when you looked at your parents as a child and you really thought about, when they looked at you and they made that look and you didn't really understand it. And now being a parent, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Got it.
You have no idea about your capacity to love until, you're in that scenario. So a proud parent, proud husband to an amazing wife who lets me come to New York and have wonderful sessions like this. I coached my 5-year-old daughter's soccer team.
Wow.
And as a collegiate athlete playing soccer,
what did you play?
Nothing more rewarding. So I was a right midfielder when I played, and my daughter now is playing everywhere. I played at Landmark College, and then I transferred to Marist College. in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Of course.
So it's.
I was just by Poughkeepsie this weekend.
Well, what'd you think? Beautiful on the Hudson, right?
Yeah, I mean, I went to sleepaway camp up there, so I understand the world.
Were you back
up
at the
there.
camp for some reason?
Yes.
Did you forget something and you had to go back for it?
I forgot it's like 24 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, it was
that I
time.
buried in the woods and
Yep.
went and got it. No, it was actually showing my kids a rookie day or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
to have them check it out. So I know. So when you coach, how do you think about coaching your kid versus the other kids?
Well, there's only one kid on that field who calls me dad. So that's a little bit different. And I think the real intention is that you ensure that each person is being met where they are from a development standpoint.
Very
So-
similar to how you look at work.
I think about work in the same way, but my end goal as a coach or as someone who has employees on their team, I'm not interested in making them better employees. I have no interest in it at all. I've said it to every person I've ever interviewed. I will say it publicly here. I am not interested in making you better employees. I am interested in making you better people. And if I can do that and you treat people better and you walk out of this with a better experience, inherently, you will be a happier person. You will be a person that is better to others, and you will get more out of your colleagues because they will understand that if they fall, you're going to be there to back them up.
I love that.
Right. So it's really,
And that's a very sports mentality.
it's
obviously.
exactly a sports mentality.
Did
That's
your
what we
parents
learned.
coach you growing up too? Or
My dad coached me but had never played soccer.
ever?
Had never played soccer. And so growing up just outside of Washington, D.C., we had the United Nations of soccer players. I had Bulgarians, I had Greeks, I had Albanians, I had Kenyans, I had Egyptians, Jordanians. So the beautiful thing for me is that was our melting pot.
And you had Freddie Adu back then. Right?
Freddie Adu played at DC United for us.
Yeah,
He absolutely did. As
I
a
remember that.
15-year-old too.
I remember that.
Unbelievable.
Because when I was at College Park, Maryland, I remember people talking about Freddie Adu in the area.
Yeah.
What a guy that didn't make it, huh?
I mean, he did. He certainly outkicked the coverage. He had expectations as a 15-year-old that most people don't get until many years later with a lot of money behind him. But like being a College Park guy, you guys had Abe Thompson, one of the best soccer players to ever come out of Virginia, who played at Maryland. And they were a national championship team.
You know, it's interesting. Like you never think about that pressure that LeBron, Bryce Harper, and the fact that those guys actually made it happen.
I feel it every day in advertising. I think of what we do as pretty much being like LeBron and Bryce Harper, not with the talent, but certainly with the pressure.
I love that. I love that. What else do you want the audience to know about the future of Crossmedia that you haven't been able to talk about yet?
I couldn't be more bullish on what's possible. I think that we have tremendously large aspirations as an organization. I think our fundamental truths will always be there. As I mentioned, trust, reason, pursuit of happiness. It will ground us forever. And so as we seek out partnership with any brand out there, we're aligned on strategic values and we're aligned on what's most interesting to them and to us, I think the sky's the limit. I think we are a founder-owned, founder-led company with no outside investment, which is tremendously empowering because we can make decisions for what's right for us. We don't have anyone to go ask. And so when we start to think about which horses we should back, what partnerships that we should be striking, the question is only, how does this best serve our clients? And because of that, because there's no other thumb on the scale, there's never been a better time to be an independent.
So at this point, what do you think, knowing that, what do you think makes you guys lose when you do?
I think that there are a couple of things. I can't sometimes beat people on rates. I don't buy television at the scale of a holding company. I just don't.
So it's all about scale and rates.
It can become that. It can become that because and while we are global, we are not global in the same way that certain other companies are, right? I currently buy in 120 countries, right? I don't have boots in the ground in every single one of those countries. And so if you desperately need someone who can buy media in Mauritania and they live in the country, I don't have that resource. But some of my competitors do. Like when I was at Dentsu, that was one of the things that we had available. And so we've had to be very creative in the ways that we support clients who truly have an interest there to start to separate what does that capability provide and enable for you that you otherwise wouldn't have if we did it with a model that's more similar to what we do. So when I think about, those opportunities that haven't gone our way, in some cases it's strategic fit. And there's mutual, we both kind of go, this doesn't feel right. And we both walked away from it. I think that's a tremendously good thing.
It is.
Because what ends up happening is
the
later
relationship
on,
erodes anyway.
Exactly. But a lot of these people, we have relationships that extend, further and far beyond. And whether it's with pitch consultants or it's with that end client who eventually moves and becomes the CMO somewhere else, they remember what they knew our strengths were. And they come to us and say, are those still your strengths? Tell me what you've been up to. We've had numerous clients come and we've won them in those ways where they went, the legacy brand that I was working for wasn't right for what you guys can do. But now that I'm at this new place, we can truly recognize the tremendous value that you have. Some of our best relationships, for sure.
I love that. What do you want to close with to tell everyone that's next for Crossmedia that people don't know?
What's next for Crossmedia?
What are you going to break for the world today?
Oh, what am I going to break? These are big questions. These are the heavy hitters. I think the things that are tremendously interesting become the combination of the partners that we seek that are external but are not the big five ad platforms, but all of those halo partners around them that have said, we know how to be better, we know how to be faster, we know how to be smarter, and we know how to bolt on to that capability. We're not looking to replace it. We're looking to add on to it and enhance it to give you a disproportionate advantage. I love those partnerships, and I love the dreamers that we have within our own teams who are constantly coming day in and day out saying, how could we be doing this better? How can I be better? How can I support my teammates better? So in terms of what am I breaking today, it's that we continue to be making strides to be a better company every single day. And I go every day in inspired. I get to wear fancy suits like this and fancy shirts like this and have a tremendously good job representing the interests of so many incredible people.
That's awesome. Well, I got nothing else after that. Just drop your mic and let's
there we go.
Walk off. Thank you for joining us
Absolutely.
today.
Hey, I'm Chris, one of the producers for Sitely's Breaking Through the Mayhem podcast. We want to thank you so much for subscribing to the show. If you'd like to learn more about the guests we had on today, we included additional information about them in the show notes. Finally, if you'd like to be on the podcast, or if you know someone who'd make a great fit, you can fill out the form at sitely.com/podcast. Catch you on the next episode.